We're back with Season 5, Episode 1, Cutie Markless, Part 1. This is the episode in which an adorable whale shows up. This is the episode in which we are introduced to a new pony called Starlight Glimmer, the best pony ever, who has founded a place that is, last I checked, officially referred to as Our Town. Apparently they didn't name it in the actual episode, so what they did is they allowed the fans to name it. And so they decided to go ahead and just call it Our Town. Go figure. Anywho, they all have equal signs, and they're totally not communist or anything like that. Alright, so, this episode, let's just start with this. This is actually an interesting little tidbit. This episode was written by 3 separate people. Scott Sonneborn, he's one of the new folk. He's done nothing good. M.A. Larson, he's one of my favorite writers so far. And Megan McCarthy, who has a really good track record. So, 2 excellent writers and 1 writer who wrote one of the worst episodes so far. Cool. Let's jump into the episode proper, shall we? Right at the beginning, there's a nice little tidbit where the chairs actually light up when they sit on them, which is cool. I kind of wish they noticed that, but, they don't, so whatever. Can I just say that I absolutely love the crystal aesthetic in this episode? Like, a lot. The crystal aesthetic really works for me. It's my favorite terrain type. We've talked about that before. You've got desert and grassland and frost area. Crystal has always been my favorite aesthetic, and so I absolutely love the crystal aesthetic of the castle. So, the map comes up. Long. First of all, the map is really detailed. This is actually probably in direct reaction to the fact that we now have an official map, which actually showed up in the previous episode, but it has lots of information there, and it is, like, it's clearly designed to be zoomed in. Like, in other words, what the creators did was they made the map this size, and then they shrank it down to here for the actual show. So that way they could still zoom it up there. Very classic thing. Hi, Velvetrix. What are you doing here? And Spike has a line that was actually deleted from the episode, which I wanted to mention, because this actually would be brought up much later. Spike has a line that the map covered all of Equestria and beyond. Crystal Snail is in Mega Man X2, Imperial Star Destroyer, not Mega Man X1. Yeah, I saw the cake. You're so young, Valvedrix. God, I'm so envious. I wish I was that young. Happy birthday, by the way. I don't have anything to give you. I give you this giant whale. I'm not giving you away, Dive. It's okay. Can't even buy those anymore. That's actually why I bought him when I bought him, because he was going out of production. So Spike's line takes away some nuance from it, which kind of sucks. But what I really like is the Godzilla joke. You caught that, right? Godzilla versus, what is it? Bambi. There was a Godzilla versus Bambi joke, which was awesome. I love the idea of the map. Absolutely adore it. It makes so much sense in the context of the setting and of the story and of everything we're going through. Just everything. Oh my god, it's awesome. This is... I talked about this yesterday, and by yesterday I mean last week, but in the episode that we just covered. We have a tree that itself, we don't know this yet, but the tree itself was crafted by seeds that were put together by people who embodied the ideals of harmony, aka what I refer to as the pattern. This then manifested into a physical tree, which produced... Yeah, no kidding, SA2K. And we're going to be going outside of the local areas a lot in Season 5, which is awesome. We'll be doing that in the future from now on, really, I think. Because we still have the... I think that's Season 7 arc. But I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So we have the embodiments. They make the tree makes the chest interacts with the proper harmonic frequencies. That crafts the castle manifests the thing, and because of the magic, which is harmoniously equating to itself, it is now perfectly attuned with harmony, as in the concept of harmony, the mathematical pattern of harmony within the entire area. Yeah, we left the Mist Continent. That's a great way to put that. We have just left the Mist Continent. Another one would be in FF3 when we leave the Floating Continent, for example. So it makes perfect sense that this thing would be so in tuned with that frequency, that pattern across the whole realm, that it would be able to detect any imbalances or fluctuations in that pattern, right? That is the arc of Season 5 in a nutshell. This map. This map actually... And yeah, I'm sorry, SA2 is absolutely right. There needed to be a blueprint. The keys that are harmoniously tied to the people and the events that magically manifested the keys were necessary so the map would know what it's looking for in relation to the thing that's powering it. It all lines up so beautifully. It's this wonderful fractal pattern. I can just stare at it in my head. I can stare at it. Also, no, I have not played Pokemon Gen 5 on camera. Echt klug. Anyways, so it makes perfect sense that this thing would be able to sense this, and it even works as a not just as a problem detector, but as a kind of a problem solution thing. This is a brilliant storytelling tool. I cannot overemphasize how awesome of an idea this is. Oh, of course I have. I played every Pokemon game off camera. The idea of... Because it would have been so easy for this to be too much or too little. Hey, there's a problem would be too little. Hey, here's a problem and here's exactly how you solve it is too much. Instead, it's right in between. Here's where the problem is. Here's who should go there. Now, we don't really see that this episode because it sends all 6 of them to this episode, but that's how it's going to be going forwards. It'll send 1 or 2 or 3 or however many specific people to a location because it knows they are the people who are best equipped to help with whatever that situation is, which is awesome. I love that. And again, yeah, this is the perfect quest hook map in a way that makes perfect sense in lore. Love it. Sorry for gushing, but I love this concept. Look at my notes. And like I said, this is continuing something I absolutely... Yeah, exactly, S8K. Again, they have to figure it out for themselves. That's the whole point. If it told them how to fix it, that would be too much, like I said. Instead, it just says, you should go there. And it's right. Yeah, plus the story. Plus the story for the map. I'm not even joking. So... They really act. Well, screw them. No, I'm kidding. I understand different opinions. After all, SA2K is in my chat right here, and I understand him. I mean, I don't understand him. He's totally insane, but I totally, I'm with him. I've said this before, and I'll say this again. I like the idea that any given season has its own connecting thread, its arc. This is something that I myself will actually do if I ever start to make television in the future. They're connecting threads across the season. We've already had the chest, right, and Discord and the Equestria games. That was Season 4. And this one we have the map, and the map sending people to certain places is kind of going to be the connecting thread. It's kind of the adventure phase, if you will. So, the map sends all of the... I'm going to just call it our town. Our town, by the way. The map sends all of them to our town. Then we find... It also, yeah, it's a great way to do character moments. You're absolutely right, SFTK. We find out that hoofball is a thing. And hoofball maps, and hoofball stats, and hoofball... I wish we knew more about hoofball. I love fictional sports. Fictional sports are right up there with fictional food for me, because there's so much cool stuff you can do with when you add magic or advanced technology to a concept like a competitive engagement, right? It's interesting that Fluttershy is apparently into that. I mean, not enough. She didn't want to hang out with Spike, but, Anyways, yeah, Blitzball is actually kind of awesome, and there's also Valsenball. Bonus points if you even recognize Valsenball. Anywho... Thankfully, battle recreation. Thankfully, they got rid of the horse-driven trains all the way back in Season 1. You remember me commenting on that? Oh my god, Rascal remembers Valsenball. Holy crap. What was I saying? Thankfully, they got rid of the horse-driven trains, because otherwise, turning that train around when they get to the end of the line would have been really irritating. And yeah, horse-driven trains is always stupid. Quidditch is awesome, too. It's insane, but it is awesome. It is a little bit too football-y. It should have just been football at that point. I mean, you're already in Britain, right? But anyways, magical football, I'm with it, I'm with it. The only thing I don't like about Quidditch is the snitch. If it wasn't for the snitch, Quidditch would be an awesome sport. The flying ribcage. God, Guido. He never let that... He never outlived that. Owltown is way out there. It almost makes me wonder why she did that, but actually it makes perfect sense. Remember, the only reason they even knew this place existed was because the map sent them there. And this place has been a problem for a while, based on what we know. This has been a massive flaw in the harmonic pattern. So yeah, they need to be isolated to make sure nobody else knows, so nobody comes and tries to change anything. After all, while she is willing to go up against someone like Twilight, she would probably hesitate to go after someone like, say, Celestia, for example. This is a good time to mention the animation bump. Holy crap. I wrote down a few specific details, if I could find it in my notes. Here it is. Improved lighting, more layers to show more of a three-dimensional look, to make it look like it's a three-dimensional area rather than just like the 2D, the two layers thing they've been doing up until now. The facial expressions, they have more cheek marks. You can see like when they do this, this kind of comes up in the eye area. There's marks when the face moves, like you see little wrinkles show up here or there just to show the face moving. The nose kind of scrunches around as they talk. And my personal favorite one, this is a really, really tiny detail. When they say something like "ba" or "pa," their mouth scrunches up for like 3 frames, just like that. Forgive me for gushing, but once again, there was a budget increase, and once again, there was an animation bump. It looks gorgeous. It looks absolutely beautiful, and I love it, and I just wanted to gush about that. So naturally, Pinkie Pie is the one who first notices there's something wrong. Although, I'm gonna be honest, even just glancing at the way they're smiling, you can tell something's up. That does not look like good. Welcome. 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 I usually watch it just because it allows me some time to jot down some notes, so I guess I don't technically watch it. Welcome. Welcome. Oh, I love it. It's so creepy. I love it. This is probably getting a purple rating, by the way. I really, really like this episode. There's a flaw in it. There's flaws in everything. I'll talk about that later. Welcome. Glimmer's voice. So Glimmer is voiced by a person I wrote down somewhere. Kelly Sheridan. I looked up what else she's been in, and I recognized none of it. I mean, I've seen some of the other things she's been in. The problem is, most of the roles she's been are fairly minor roles from what I've seen. You know, just a little bit of looking into it, which is a damn shame because she is great. She does the Barbie series, and she's done a few other things. She does a fair amount of anime, stuff like that. She's been in some of the Dynasty Warrior games, little things like that. But she is a great actress. But what's funny about this is she also sounds older. Now, I don't know if they were deliberately making her sound older or if that's just her natural voice. I don't know. But I think it works very well for her. It adds a necessary nuance to her character, of the fact that they picked an actress who sounds closer to in her 30s than most of the main 6 who sound closer to in their late teens. It also makes sense given the villain tint, but we'll talk more about that later. And yeah, it's definitely more authoritative. That's a good word. I like that. So then we do the song. In our town, in our town. Okay. All joking and memeing aside, what I've been doing this whole show through is I've been keeping track of every song that we've been going through. Just because I like to do this kind of thing whenever I'm going through a show. Like, I'll keep track of favorite episodes, or I'll keep track of favorite songs, or favorite incidents, or whatever, right? Favorite characters, that kind of stuff. So for MLP, it made sense to keep track of the songs. And I've been ranking them as I go. Just my own personal take. My favorite song so far, by far, is In Our Town. This is an awesome song. It's catchy. It's brilliant. It's wonderfully presented. It's amazingly creepy. It has a line I've used outside of this show many times. It's actually apparently based on real-life World War II propaganda, which of course is trying to be all things, blah, blah, blah. I could rank them publicly if someone wants me to, but I can just tell you the order. I have the list right here. Yeah, oh my god, the whole thing is so brilliant. It is extremely well done. I mean, there's some good songs in this. This Day, Smile is very high up there. But In Our Town, oh my god, this song is so great. The line is, "You can't have a nightmare if you never dream." Anyways, I love that line. And I have used that line multiple times. And of course, yeah, the whole time, she is clearly pushing other ponies to get in line, to dance in the right method, to fix the hair up. There's all sorts of stuff. Fluttershy's totally into it. Pinkie Pie hates it. Of course Fluttershy's into it. Did you know that in real life, some of the personality types that most gravitate towards this kind of ideology, to put that as nicely as I possibly can, are people like Fluttershy. So, yeah, no, Fluttershy would probably be fully on board with this. She is super the kind of person who would fall into this. And, of course, she does. She is completely with it the whole time. And, in fact, she is the one most supportive of it. And reprimands both Applejack and Rainbow Dash for how rude they're being for their response to it. Oh, that's so beautifully messed up. World War II, propaganda. Now, okay, I want to talk about something weird. Rainbow Dash has absolutely the correct reaction to the situation. Rainbow Dash is talking to Lore Reloaded about how it's finally the cult episode, Reloaded. We're finally at the cult episode you know about. And now you're going to leave. I see how it is. Either way. See you tonight, dude. Have a good one. Rainbow Dash, I was just about to talk about the insidiousness of the cult, because the beauty of something that is insidious is that something that is insidious works better the more intelligent you are and the more you think about it. The correct reaction, this is true in real life, the correct reaction to this kind of insidious mind-altering, that's the wrong word, mind manipulation, psychological manipulation, the correct reaction to this is to be like, right, and then move on. Rainbow is absolutely right here. That's what amuses me so much about this. Because you look at this and it's like, yeah, we're all the same and we don't have cutie marks because they make us terrible. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. That is the correct response. You'll notice that everyone else, except for Applejack, are thinking about it. They're actually like, oh, well, we need to process this. I know, right, Lord Harriman? We need to process this. We need to understand this. We need to give them a chance. We need to not be judgmental and blah, 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 blah. And that is exactly how insidiousness works. All it needs is to get that foot in the door. Right? To use a Warcraft terminology, this is shadow or void magic, not fel magic. Fel magic would punch you in the face. Void magic would be like, well, hang on, are you really sure I'm your enemy? I mean, actually think about what I'm doing for a moment, and you can properly process the kind of things. And I've just been trying to help my parents out, and honestly, ever since I got kicked out of the war, and just... And tries to slide in there, right? That's exactly what's happening. God, I love this. So, Rainbow has the absolutely correct response, as she should. Everyone else is like, oh, we should go with this. This then leads to probably my second favorite scene in the episode. My first being the song. My second favorite scene in the episode is they're arguing, and then Sugar Belle comes over. And I remember her because she's actually a recurring character later. Sugar Belle comes over, and she's like, I'm sorry, is your friendship ending? And it's just kind of a throwaway line that almost seems weird. But then she clarifies like 20, 30 seconds later. Well, hang on, I thought that you were disagreeing, but now you're agreeing. How could you still be friends? And then she flat out recites a line that clearly she's been memorized. I wrote it down. Different talents lead to different opinions, which leads to bitterness and misery. So why aren't you bitter and miserable? Now, I love this for several reasons. Let's discuss the first reason first. I know that's a weird place to start, but I thought discussing the fifth reason first would be a little bit out of order. The first reason is the main six are friends. Now, if you've been paying attention to this whole Streamination, I've been pointing out their friendship arc as we go. Now, they've been friends for a while, to be clear. But I want you to compare and contrast the main six here, with their little argument, with the main six back in Season 1 and 2. When they argue, there's no actual anger. There's no real bitterness. There's no real resentment. There's no actual antagonizement whatsoever. And there's not even the tiniest bit of any idea that this was a huge issue. No one's in a huff. No one's going to stomp off like they have done. They just disagree, and then they're fine. It's cool, whatever. And when called out on that, their response is, why would that cause us any issues? Which is exactly correct. Real friends can disagree all the time and still be friends. Real friends can fight and still be friends. This isn't even a real fight, I'm just pointing it out. So that's the first reason I like this scene. The second reason I like this scene is because there's this really brief cutaway to the adults who are covering up the ears of the kids. They're all still doing this, but they cover up the ears of the kids just to make sure that the kids can't actually see, oh my god, it's so horrible. That has so many implications, I don't even know where to go with it. It's so, again, it's insidious, it's horrifying. Yeah, the idea of I can't... I've seen that in real life. I've seen this. You know, the parent shushing over the kid's ears. Usually it's for something I would consider reasonable. Cussing like a sailor, or discussing something about sex. That's happened. You know, for a little kid that they don't really need to hear yet, right? Okay. But of course that mentality, as insidious things tend to be, can be taken way too far. And so in this case, the idea of people having an argument but being still friends is apparently so horrible, they have to cover their ears. And that extreme, and how much it says about them and how culty they are, oh, that's horrible. That's true, Savicom. You're right about that. The glimmer thing, not the other thing. Oh my god, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah, that's true. That's true, though. They're mostly covering their ears because they're having an argument. How can people have an argument? Arguments are wrong! Oh, I love it. And then, of course, finally, Sugar Belle has her little thing. We have muffins. That's reason number 3. Reason number 4 is the muffins are terrible. Now, I'm going to go ahead and spoil a little something for those who haven't seen past this. Forgive me, but Sugar Belle is a recurring character. She will return in the future. At least once that I know of. The reason that's relevant, though, to this moment is to emphasize that in the future we will find out that Sugar Belle, dramatic pause, is actually a really good cook. She's a baker, specifically. She's a good baker. Now that's important, because that changes what's happening here. See, if she wasn't actually a good baker, what could be happening here is people are being assigned to roles they shouldn't be. In a setting with literal magic like this one, there is such a concept of you should not do X kind of work. But even in real life, that's true. You should probably not have me perform open heart surgery, for example. Right? Like, there are things that I can do, and there are things that I am good at, and that is not one of them. Now, that's a bit of an extreme example, so let's try something else. I should probably not be a baker. I mean, I can make baked goods, but not well, and they will not be anything particularly fantastic. So that was my first thought. But of course, because Sugar Belle is a baker, what's happening here is actually arguably worse. So what's something I'm good at? Sucking. Okay, no, I'm kidding. What is something I'm good at? Metroid. Okay, I'm good at Super Metroid, right? Now, let's say that... Yeah, I am good at games, you're absolutely right. I have to remind myself of that every now and again. But I'll take Super Metroid specifically, because I can actually say I am decent at Super Metroid without having to correct myself there. Imagine if someone... Yeah, imagine if someone basically made it so I had to play Super Metroid like this, with my fingers tied together, and being told this is to my own good. And this is not going to work out, especially for the level of precision and care that a game like Super Metroid takes. So now, I'm still playing the game, but I am sucking at it, right? This makes perfect sense for so many reasons, because I've said before and I'll say again, this is This is the magical pattern being manifested in the most literal way possible by its absence. This is one of the best ways to establish something, is by me poking up through the top, is by the absence of something. You know, negative space. Because their special talent, because their cutie marks have been taken away, and literally some of the magic has been taken away from them, the magic that empowers every pony in this setting has been literally ripped away from them, they have actually lost talents. They have actually lost ability. Because that's what they were good at. I don't know how to put this into words, how much I love that idea. But this, remember, this is the season, and the previous 2 episodes were what really got me thinking about the world building of this. This is where I came up with the theory that I've referred to so many times, which I call the pattern. The idea of the harmonic, mathematical connection of between people and magic and concepts and all that fun stuff. Because of the fact that they are absent what they are no longer capable of being what they are. I know that sounds repetitive, but I'm trying to express this because this right here is why I say that cutie marks do not override free will. Ignoring the fact that she probably is willingly choosing to lose her her cutie mark, she had to choose to be what she is, and she is now choosing to not be what she is. And we are seeing tangible results of her choosing to not be herself. Because those muffins suck. I love that. I love the fact that they actually show tangible consequence of someone choosing not to be themselves in this setting. I love that. And again, this is why I say it is freedom of will, not something like, you know, you shall do this forevermore. I've never bought into that, and most of that is from these episodes. And she knows it too. She knows it, and she persists in it. Her freedom of will continuing to choose that. It's wonderfully messed up. Whew. Poor Pinkie Pie. God, poor Pinkie Pie. Did anyone else feel really bad for her in this episode? Oh my God. Like the idea, yeah, just this horrible things. Speaking as someone who has eaten cardboard in his life, and paper. Yeah. And yeah, you notice Starlight, as mentions in this episode, she has plans to expand. Like, she's starting kind of small, and she's kind of, you know, working up towards things. But you can tell she has big plans, and that's probably why she goes ahead and springs this on Twilight. Oh my God. So then there's a cool scene, cute scene, excuse me, where it's like, oh my God, it's a super trap. Twilight even starts charging up her horn before... No, they're just here to gush. They're cutie mark enthusiasts. The My Little Pony equivalent of rebels is what I would call them. But of course they're not going to do anything. That's extreme. No, it's just cool to think about having my cutie mark back. If only. So we see the cutie mark vault. There's lots of ones there. Lots of different ones. Lots of cool cutie marks. I wonder how many travelers have come by and had their cutie marks stolen. You'll notice, and I hate to skip ahead a little bit here, but in the next episode we find out they have a propaganda shed. Straight out of 1984. Literally, it's actually a direct reference to 1984. So I find myself wondering how many people have roamed by here and been recruited. Anyways... There's a really cool tidbit. It's very minor. It's very minor. She mentions that it's the staff of the Great Mage Meadowbrook. 2 things about that. I know, Savacom. See, sometimes people ask why I like this show, and I tell them it's because it's a good show. But every now and again I get a question more along the lines of, is there anything real there? Is there anything to sink your teeth into? This episode... These 2-parters, and the 2-parters that end this season are the 2 episodes I tend to point to when I say, yeah, no, there's stuff to sink your teeth into in this show. Anyways, so, Mage Meadowbrook, 2 things about that. First of all, remember that name. She will actually come up in the future. Quite a ways from now, but she will be in the future. Point 2, Twilight has a very small reaction to that. She just kind of goes... Like, she's not sure about that. She will actually mention this in, I believe, episode 2. But I just want you to... It's nice that they throw that in there. Little details. This then leads to the only thing I don't like about this episode. Twilight absolutely sucks. She walks into a situation where she's hesitant, and they're uncertain, and they're worried it might be a trap, and then she gets taken completely by surprise by Glimmer. Now, in the interest of fairness, it is worthy of note that Starlight Glimmer is stronger than Twilight Princess, or Twilight Sparkle. Just raw strength, right? Not nearly as clever, but more raw power. We've talked about this before. Twilight's the wizard, Starlight's the sorceress. So, we can see the comparison there. And this is a trap in which she had the jump on her. However, I still think it's just a little bit eyebrow-raising that Twilight gets completely taken out in seconds. They could have at least done something here, right? Oh god, Captain N is such a terrible show. Anyways, either way, two things happen. First of all, takes out the Cutie mark. And Cutie mark goes away, and Twilight desaturates. It's a nice immediate... In case we didn't already have the implication and the statement that removing their Cutie mark disconnects them from the pattern in such a way that they are no longer as magically connected to the magic of the setting as they previously were. They literally lose some of the color in their appearance. And that'll be a thing in the future. Either way, they desaturate, and the thing kind of comes into this wonderful equal sign to be continued. I doubt it, Baron. I mean, I can't see how or why. The only thing Starlight this is going to the future. The only thing Starlight tends to show as far as talents is that she's really good at other people's spells. To use musical terms, she's a remixer, not a composer, right? She is exceptionally good at taking magic spells other people have written or started or whatever and saying, oh, well, I'll just do this and this and this and this and this, and making her own spell out of it. She does this with the time travel spell. She does this with the mind control spell. I'm trying to remember. There's a few other examples of this. Those are the two I can think of off the top of my head. She remixes. She remixes magic. And she's damn good at it. But with that, we're going to go ahead and jump into episode 2 before SA2K chops my head off for loving Starlight Glimmer as my third favorite pony.